All right, so we have Danny Brown on Joe Rogan's podcast. We have a few really good moments from this. If you're not familiar with Danny Brown, he's a rapper, and now he's also doing a podcast on Tom Segura's podcast network. And he's also thinking about getting into stand-up now. And while he was on Joe's podcast, they talked about this because Joe really wants to see him get into it, and he thinks he's funny. He said he enjoys his podcast. Danny just sounded nervous about getting into it because he feels like a lot of people would be upset since he's not a comedian. He's just trying to jump into it, and he already has a built-in audience. And I think he's just really worried about it turning into a Brendan Schaub situation because it sounded like he's definitely familiar with Brendan. While he was on Joe's podcast, Joe was talking about people who have a good style, like fashion style. And Joe said that Brendan has a great style. And immediately Danny's like, no, he does not.
I appreciate it. Like, when I see people that are into it, I appreciate it. I don't not like it. Like, when I see someone who has great style, you have great style. Brendan Schaub has great style.
No, he doesn't.
I think he does.
I love how it took him no time to respond to that. Immediately just shuts Joe down like, no, he does not. But either way, I think Brendan was just happy to hear that Joe said he has a good style. I think that's all he needs. But I don't know. Brendan's style is just kind of douchey. I mean, what is this picture? Like, is he trying to look douchey here? It seems like he's doing this as a joke almost. Because he even roasted Dana White for wearing like designer clothes and trying to look too cool. So he even thinks this is kind of goofy. But, you know, at least Brendan's not on Ela Klein's level yet. Like, what the hell is she up to? She's losing her goddamn mind. It's like every 5 seconds she has to change something up about her look, and it's just getting further and further out there. It's like the more important she thinks she is, the more she has to start dressing like a lunatic. It's crazy that these were just normal people not too long ago. I guess this is what fame and money and moving to LA does to somebody. Alright, so let's get back on track here. Another moment on this podcast with Danny Brown was when Danny was telling Joe about a joke premise that he thought of just earlier in the day. And also Danny's music is kind of like funny too, so he tries to think of funny stuff a lot to like rap about as well. And he was kind of pitching this to Joe, and Joe just immediately shut it down, and it was just really awkward. It was one of the cringier moments on this podcast. And a lot of people thought that Joe was being rude here by taking the joke so seriously and acting like every joke has to make logical sense. But I don't know, what do you really expect from Joe? I mean, this is just how he is. And I think this makes for an even better bit. Like the original joke premise here that he's explaining to Joe, some people I saw thought it was kind of funny. But I think if he took this whole situation here where Joe's like explaining to him how this joke won't work, if he turned that into a bit and did it on stage, I think that could be really funny.
Punchline, like just something that I think is funny to myself. And I'm like, I gotta write that down. And last night it was, I was talking to them about it before the last podcast, was deviled eggs.
Deviled eggs?
Bro, that's the most, I get why they call deviled eggs. Deviled eggs. Now me, I'm a person that love eggs. You gotta get your protein high if you can get it. But, all right, if we were talking about abortions and this and that, so these niggas I'm just saying, it's an egg.
Okay, it's not fertilized.
But they took you, they scrambled you up, then put you back into the mix, then fed you the niggas. It's like the most, like, gruesome shit you can do to anybody is a deviled egg, man. You gonna tell me, bro, if you take my shell, you take me, all my skin, then you gonna take all this, throw some mayonnaise and some,
But do you know that deviled eggs are eggs that are not fertilized? This is not like a logical premise because those eggs aren't fertilized. They can never become a chicken. A fertilized egg is an egg when the rooster fucks the hen, and then the egg could become a person. Egg is just a piece of protein. It's never going to be a living organism.
Joe, how does this change the situation?
Because you're talking about gruesomely turning up what it means to be you.
It's a dead baby.
But it's not.
Anywhere it goes.
No. It's not a dead baby. It's zero potential to be a baby. It's never impregnated. When they lay eggs every day. I have chickens.
So eating deviled eggs.
They're building a chicken coop in my house right now.
Eating deviled eggs is not bad.
It's nothing. It's like free protein.
I hate you, man.
Sorry. Sorry. But that's what an egg is.
But can I get my bit?
The bit's not going to work. It's okay. It's okay. I get what you're going for. And if it really was you were eating babies, it makes sense. But most people know that that's not really what's going on.
All right.
You know what I mean? It's like one of them things where someone
But
has
see,
to,
that's why you need ghostwriters.
yes. Well, you need someone like to consult with, you know.
I like how Joe says that most people are aware of this because not too long ago on his podcast, he admitted he didn't know this until he was 40.
These are non-fertilized eggs, and people need to understand that. And I didn't know that until I was 40, by the way. How so dumb I am. I thought that like if you just like let the egg go, it would become a chicken.
Yeah, so it's too bad Danny didn't tell this joke to Joe 15 years ago because then Joe probably would have thought it's funny. I mean, I think you could tell this joke at a club, like it more well thought out. I don't think it needs to make complete logical sense. I mean, I've heard people make jokes that make zero sense at all, and people will still laugh at it. I mean, Joe should just let the poor guy have his egg joke and maybe just did a fake laugh to it or something.
And if you think there is, it's very like, I know everything. I kind of do agree with a lot of what he says.
Yeah, so I know Danny's egg joke premise thing wasn't the funniest thing ever. I mean, he said he just thought of it. And I'm sure once he realized that Joe wasn't into it, he started screwing up and getting nervous. But he could have went along with it. You know, I think Brendan Schaub's right. Joe just isn't silly enough.
Mood, you know, Rogan gets silly.
Yeah, but sometimes.
Most of the time,
Yeah, he's
not
serious
silly
as a
like
heart
we
attack.
are. Like you and I are silly.
Right.
Me and Theo are super silly.
So I don't know. Or maybe Joe was just trying to do Danny a favor and like he thought he'd embarrass himself telling the joke on stage, even though he's telling it to like one of the biggest audiences ever and Joe's shutting him down. So I don't know. Whatever. Let me know what you guys think about it, and then hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you at the next video.